time on, every child will be assessed, and they will be qualified, and they will be scrutinized. And if for any reason, according to the plan, these children are not meeting the criteria that the federal government has set for their well-being, which could be anything, we have that also. The at-risk designations could be anybody's child. The child of an obese parent, the child that has too few toys or too many toys, a child that was a low birth weight, 6 pounds. Do you know what that brings? That brings with it the federal government looking into your home unannounced 8 to 10 visits a year to monitor.
What does that mean? They can just come knock on your door and walk in the house?
Absolutely. If your child has been designated at risk.
And who designates them at risk?
If they fall into the criteria, whoever is the case manager, the social worker, the person...
No!
Absolutely.
No!
Now, that's what we've been finding out. But then we take it a step further and we find out why. Why? Because this whole society is in the process of being recultured. And they say the reason for the Careers Act is that we need to change our labor force because it's so dumbed down, that we have to be able to be competitive in the new world. In the global market, we need global workers. Well, I'm telling you right now, Aaron, with the way this country is hemorrhaging and our manufacturing is going to other countries, the only way this human resource development, human beings who go to get a job are going to be competitive in a third world market is if they're going to work for 1/42nd of the normal wage. Now, the governing board at the federal level sets up a national plan for workforce development, a national employment agency, where all frontline jobs, public and private, must be reported. And all vacancies and anyone looking for work must report to the National Employment Agency.
So does that tie into the Feinstein bill with the Immigration Act that we have to go?
That's it in a nutshell. That's it. Now, they're totally radically restructuring education. And the plan, the legislation calls for integrating career-based curriculum at the earliest grades possible. Little kindergartners are now going to start talking about careers, and now they're going to start being investigated, analyzed, and surveyed as to what is their best potential for their future. And Aaron, guess what? Your children and my children and the children in this audience are going to now be picking their career for life and being trained specifically for that career by the 9th grade.
Not my children. Not my children.
Does this sound a little bit like the hammer and the sickle?
Well, I think, Carolyn, I thank you for coming here and telling us all this. I think Carolyn deserves a big round of applause. You know, no matter how deep I get into what's going on in America, I'm still amazed by the things I'm learning. And that's why I decided to do this show, so that we can all learn something together to stop this vulgarity and this deceit by our government. You know, this podium is your platform. So anybody else who wants to vent, please raise your hand. Please. Introduce yourself, please.
Hi, Aaron. I'm Julian Whitaker, and I'm a medical doctor. I've been practicing in the state of California for about 20 years. Been very active in medical freedom. I practice what you call alternative medicine, which I don't call alternative medicine. I just call good medicine because we use vitamins and minerals and things of this nature. I've been following the FDA. I've been involved in several lawsuits against the FDA with vitamins and minerals. However, there's something going on in Houston, Texas right now, which amounts to a cultural rape. There's a physician there by the name of Stanislaus Brzezinski. And I've been hearing about Stanislaus Brzezinski treating cancer. Basically, he has found a definite method and cure for cancer by isolating naturally occurring particles from the blood that get into the cell and turn off the genetic activity that causes cancer to progress. I have visited his clinic on 2 occasions. I've gone over terminal brain cancer patients that never, ever regress or never go into remission. They go into complete remission. There's a case in San Francisco of a 4-year-old girl who had a rhabdoid tumor of the brain, the most deadly tumor in childhood, 52 cases reported, average lifespan is 8 months. She lived 2.5 years, and she died not from cancer, but from the radiation and chemotherapy she had before she had this therapy. Now, I've talked to leukemia patients and lymphoma patients, complete remission. And it makes sense. Now, let me finish this. It makes sense because these particles go in and activate or deactivate the tumor or suppressor genes and the oncogenes. It requires a paradigm shift in cancer. Now, why I'm here is this. In 1983, the American Cancer Society put this on an unproven blacklist. 2 months later, the FDA filed suit in federal court in Houston in 1983 to put Stanislaus Brzezinski out of business and to destroy his discovery.
Well, let me ask you a question. Why is it in their interest to stop a cancer cure? Why is this happening in your mind?
Whenever there is a true discovery in any culture that requires a shift of paradigms, the paradigm we have in cancer now is you cut, burn out. This paradigm is you stop it at the genetic level. You don't have to cut, you don't have to burn. All of that, the billions of dollars of industry, goes down the drain. So there's 3 areas of resistance to this. There's the government, which is illegalizing it. There is the oncologists, which are hot and bothered because he represents a challenge to their belief system. And then there's the insurance company, which basically is governed by the physicians.
Would it be possible to bring the doctor to the show here one day?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Thank you. Anybody else would like to vent? Senator Rogers.
Thank you, Aaron. And I'm mad. Let me tell you why.
Please.
I'm mad because the federal government has literally turned their back on not only California, but all the border states. And let me tell you what I'm talking about. Every night, several thousand people enter into our state illegally. They break our law. They're illegal aliens. They come across the border almost unrestricted. 80% of every newborn child in Los Angeles County is born of an illegal alien parent. And the California taxpayer is picking up the tab. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm mad because the voters, Article 1, Section 4 of the Constitution, and I wish some of the federal judges would read it once in a while.
That's a far...
I guess so. It says clearly, it clearly says that the federal government is charged with the responsibility of protecting the individual states from invasion. We are being invaded. California, Arizona, New Mexico, Texas, Florida, literally being invaded by people who break our law and come into our state illegally. Now, 15 months ago, the people in this state voted, 59% voted for a proposition called 187. A federal judge, one judge appointed by Jimmy Carter, has put a stop to what the people in California clearly support.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Now, what we need to do is, of course, I'm thinking maybe we ought to put a term limit on federal judges, folks, rather than lifetime. It is not fair to the people in California. What's happening? We are required, according to this federal judge, to provide free welfare services, free medical care, and a free public education to all of these people that come in and break our law and come into the state illegally. And it's time that we told the federal government, look, you either do it or we're going to do it.
Amen.
Now, the federal judge, let me tell you how contorted her reasoning was in using the Constitution. She said, well, Prop 187, you are making immigration law, and that is the area for the federal government. That's not what 187 was about. 187 was merely saying the state of California has the right to remove the incentives that are acting like a